Good day, everyone. Today, I would like to speak on the topic, when money comes. Keep quiet and stay wise. Many people pray for financial blessings, but when those blessings finally come, the real test begins. Jesus Christ teaches us that what we do with what we have matters more than what we receive. When money comes into our lives, the first thing we must remember is humility. Jesus himself lived a humble life, even though he had the power to command anything. This shows us that wealth should never make us proud or arrogant. Another important lesson is keeping quiet about our blessings. Not everyone around us celebrates our success. Sometimes, silence protects our peace and helps us focus on managing our resources wisely. Jesus also taught us to use our blessings to help others. Throughout his ministry, he showed compassion to the poor, the sick, and those in need. Money should never make our hearts hard. Instead, it should help us become more generous. In the Bible, Jesus said, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." This reminds us that money should never take the place of God in our lives. Our faith and character must always come first. The parable of the talents, taught by Jesus, reminds us that we are stewards of what we receive. Wealth must be managed carefully, invested wisely, and used responsibly. Finally, whenever money comes into our lives, we must remain grateful and faithful. Remember that every blessing comes from God, and with every blessing comes responsibility. So when money comes, do not boast, do not rush, and do not lose wisdom. Stay humble, stay quiet, and stay wise, just as the teachings of Jesus Christ guide us. Money is often seen as a sign of success, progress, and opportunity. For many people, it represents the answer to years of hard work, sacrifice, and prayer. When money comes into a person's life, it can open doors to better living conditions, education, healthcare, and the ability to support loved ones. Yet, while money can be a blessing, it must always be guided by wisdom. Without wisdom, the same money that was meant to improve life can easily become the cause of problems, conflicts, and regret. This is why it is important to understand that money itself is not the ultimate solution to life's challenges. It is a tool, and like any tool, the way it is used determines whether it will build something good or destroy something valuable. In many teachings found in the Bible, Jesus emphasized the importance of wisdom over material possessions. Jesus never condemned money itself, but he consistently warned people about the dangers of allowing wealth to control their hearts and decisions. Through his teachings, Jesus showed that blessings must always be handled with humility, responsibility, and careful thought. When money comes, wisdom becomes even more necessary, because wealth often brings new temptations, new pressures, and new expectations from others. A person who suddenly gains money may feel excited and eager to show the world that their circumstances have changed. It is easy to become carried away by the desire to buy expensive things, impress friends, or prove success to others. However, wisdom reminds us that true security does not come from spending quickly or showing off wealth. Instead, wisdom encourages patience, planning, and self-control. Money that is guided by wisdom is used thoughtfully, with attention to the future and consideration for what truly matters in life. Jesus often used simple stories to teach deep lessons about life and responsibility. In the parable of the talents, Jesus spoke about servants who were entrusted with money by their master. Each servant was expected to manage what they received wisely. The story illustrates the idea that resources are given with the expectation that they will be used responsibly and productively. This teaching highlights an important truth. Money is not just something to enjoy, it is something to manage. Wisdom helps a person think beyond the present moment and consider how their actions today will affect tomorrow. Another important part of wisdom is understanding that money should not define a person's character or worth. Jesus lived a life of humility, even though he had the power and authority that no one else possessed. He showed that greatness is not measured by wealth or possessions, but by love, kindness, and service to others. When someone receives money, wisdom helps them remember that their value as a person does not come from the amount of money they have. It comes from their character, their integrity, and the way they treat other people. Wisdom also teaches the importance of gratitude. When money comes, it is easy to forget the struggles that existed before the blessing arrived. A wise person remembers where they came from and remains thankful for every opportunity they receive. Gratitude keeps the heart humble and prevents pride from growing. Jesus often gave thanks for what was available, even when the resources seemed small. His example reminds people that blessings should always be received with appreciation and humility. Another aspect of wisdom is the ability to recognize that money brings responsibility. When a person has financial resources, they also have the ability to influence the lives of others. This influence can be used for good or for harm. Wisdom encourages people to think about how their money can make a positive difference. Jesus spent much of his time helping those who were struggling, feeding the hungry, and showing compassion to those who were often ignored by society. His actions demonstrate that blessings are meant to be shared and that generosity reflects a heart that understands the true purpose of wealth. At the same time, wisdom warns against allowing money to create division between people. Wealth can sometimes lead to jealousy, competition, or misunderstanding within families and communities. When money is handled without wisdom, it can damage relationships that took years to build. A wise person understands that relationships, trust, and respect are far more valuable than material possessions. Jesus often emphasized love for others as one of the greatest principles in life, reminding people that human connection is more important than financial gain. Wisdom also encourages careful decision-making. Money creates opportunities, but not every opportunity is beneficial. Some choices may look attractive at first, but lead to loss or difficulty later. A wise person takes time to think, seek advice, and evaluate the consequences of their actions before making financial decisions. This kind of careful thinking protects both the money itself and the peace of mind of the person who has received it. Another important part of wisdom is self-discipline. Money can create the temptation to live beyond one's needs or to pursue pleasure without limits. Without discipline, spending can quickly grow out of control. Wisdom reminds a person to maintain balance and to focus on what is truly necessary and meaningful. Jesus often spoke about the importance of self-control and spiritual focus, encouraging people to prioritize what lasts rather than what fades quickly. Wisdom also helps a person remain calm and thoughtful, even when their financial situation improves. Sudden wealth can bring attention from others, some of whom may have good intentions, while others may not. A wise individual understands that not everyone who approaches them will be seeking their well-being. By remaining thoughtful and careful, a person can protect both their resources and their peace of mind. Finally, wisdom allows money to become a tool for long-term stability rather than short-term excitement. Instead of using wealth only for temporary satisfaction, a wise person thinks about how it can support the future, create opportunities for growth, and contribute to the well-being of others. The teachings of Jesus repeatedly point toward a life that values purpose, responsibility, and compassion above material display. Through wisdom, money can serve as a blessing that strengthens lives, supports families, and reflects values that go far beyond the numbers in a bank account. Pride and boasting often appear when people begin to experience success, recognition, or financial gain. When someone acquires money or improves their situation in life, the temptation to show it openly or to seek admiration from others can become very strong. However, avoiding pride and boasting is one of the most important qualities a person can develop when they receive blessings. Money can change circumstances, but it should never change a person's character. Remaining humble even when wealth increases shows maturity, wisdom, and a deep understanding of what truly matters in life. Throughout history and across different cultures, humility has always been respected more than arrogance. A person who constantly speaks about their wealth, achievements, or possessions often creates distance between themselves and others. Boasting may seem impressive for a short time, but it can lead to jealousy, resentment, and broken relationships. People may begin to feel uncomfortable around someone who continually highlights their success. Instead of building respect, boasting often weakens it. This is why humility becomes especially important when money or success enters a person's life. The teachings of Jesus emphasize humility as a central value in human life. Jesus lived in a way that constantly reminded people that greatness does not come from showing power or wealth. Even though Jesus had authority and influence that no ordinary person possessed, he never used it to elevate himself above others. Instead, he chose to live simply and interact with people from all walks of life. His example shows that true strength is demonstrated through humility rather than pride. When a person avoids pride, they create space for gratitude and reflection. Pride often convinces people that their success is entirely the result of their own abilities, causing them to forget the help, opportunities, and circumstances that made their progress possible. Humility, on the other hand, allows someone to recognize that many factors contribute to success. Family support, education, mentorship, community encouragement, and even unexpected opportunities all play a role. Recognizing these influences helps keep a person grounded and respectful toward others. Boasting also has the potential to shift a person's focus away from what truly matters. When someone begins to measure their worth by how much money they have or how impressive their possessions appear, their priorities can become distorted. Instead of focusing on personal growth, relationships, and meaningful contributions to society, they may start focusing only on appearances and recognition. This mindset often leads to a constant desire to prove oneself, which can create stress and dissatisfaction even in the presence of wealth. Avoiding pride allows a person to maintain strong and healthy relationships. People are naturally drawn to those who are approachable, kind, and respectful. A humble individual makes others feel comfortable and valued, regardless of their social or financial status. When someone does not boast about their achievements, others are more likely to appreciate their success genuinely, rather than feeling threatened by it. Humility builds trust and encourages deeper connections between people. The teachings of Jesus repeatedly highlighted the dangers of pride. Jesus spoke about individuals who placed themselves above others and believed their status made them more important. Through parables and conversations, Jesus encouraged people to examine their hearts and remain humble in their attitudes. One well-known teaching from Jesus describes how those who exalt themselves will eventually be humbled, while those who humble themselves will be lifted up. This principle reflects the idea that humility naturally earns respect, while arrogance often leads to downfall. When a person receives financial blessings, humility also helps them make wiser decisions. Pride can push someone to make choices based on appearance rather than practicality. For example, A person driven by pride may feel pressured to buy expensive items simply to demonstrate their wealth. These decisions may not bring lasting satisfaction and can even create financial problems over time. A humble person, however, is less concerned with proving their success to others and more focused on making thoughtful and responsible choices. Avoiding boasting also protects a person from unnecessary attention and pressure. When wealth is constantly displayed or discussed, it can attract people who are more interested in the money than in genuine friends. Hip. Some individuals may begin to approach the person with requests, expectations, or hidden motives. By remaining modest and avoiding excessive displays of wealth, a person can maintain privacy and protect their peace of mind. Humility also encourages generosity. When someone does not see themselves as superior to others, they are more likely to recognize the struggles and needs of those around them. This awareness can inspire acts of kindness and support. Jesus demonstrated compassion toward those who were poor, sick, or marginalized, showing that true greatness lies in serving others rather than elevating oneself above them. Another important benefit of avoiding pride is the ability to continue learning and growing. Pride often convinces people that they already know enough, or that they have reached a level where advice is no longer necessary. This mindset can prevent personal development and lead to mistakes. Humility keeps a person open to new ideas, guidance, and constructive feedback. A humble individual understands that success is not a final destination, but part of a continuous journey of growth. Pride can also isolate a person emotionally. When someone constantly focuses on their achievements or possessions, they may gradually lose touch with the everyday experiences and challenges of others. This separation can create loneliness and misunderstanding. Humility keeps a person connected to their community and allows them to appreciate the shared experiences that bring people together. The example set by Jesus continues to inspire people to value humility over pride. Jesus interacted with people in ways that demonstrated respect, compassion, and genuine interest in their lives. His actions showed that leadership and influence do not require arrogance or self-promotion. Instead, they grow naturally from character, integrity, and the ability to treat others with dignity. Avoiding pride and boasting requires constant awareness and self-control. Success and wealth can easily influence a person's attitude if they are not careful. By focusing on gratitude, humility, and respect for others, a person can ensure that their blessings do not become the source of arrogance. Money may change a person's circumstances, but humility ensures that their character remains strong, balanced, and worthy of respect. Keeping your plans quiet is a practice that reflects patience, wisdom, and self-control. Many people feel excited when they begin a new journey, especially when it involves opportunities for success, financial growth, or personal development. The excitement can create a strong urge to share every idea, every goal, and every step with others. However, wisdom teaches that not every plan needs to be announced before it is accomplished. Silence can often protect a vision while it is still growing and developing. When plans are shared too early, they can attract unnecessary attention, opinions, and even criticism. Not everyone will understand the vision behind a goal, and some people may respond with doubt rather than encouragement. These reactions can weaken confidence and create distractions. When a person keeps their plans quiet, they allow themselves the freedom to focus fully on the work that must be done. Instead of spending energy explaining ideas or defending choices, they can invest their time and effort into turning those ideas into reality. Silence also provides protection from negativity. In every community, there are individuals who may not celebrate the success of others. Sometimes people feel uncomfortable when they hear about someone else's ambitions or progress. This discomfort can lead to discouraging comments, skepticism, or even attempts to interfere with the plan. By keeping plans private, a person avoids exposing their dreams to unnecessary negativity. This approach does not come from fear, but from wisdom and understanding of human behavior. The teachings of Jesus provide valuable insight into the importance of quiet action and humble intention. On several occasions, Jesus performed acts of healing and kindness, and then instructed those who received the help not to spread the news immediately. These moments demonstrate that meaningful actions do not always need public attention. Jesus showed that the focus should remain on the purpose of the action rather than on recognition or praise. Keeping plans quiet also encourages discipline. When someone constantly talks about what they intend to do, they may begin to feel satisfied simply by discussing their goals rather than actually working toward them. Talking about plans can create the illusion of progress even when little action has taken place. Silence removes this illusion and places the emphasis back on effort and commitment. Instead of receiving temporary satisfaction from conversations, a person gains true fulfillment from completing the work itself. Another reason to keep plans quiet is that plans often change as new information becomes available. Life is unpredictable, and even the most carefully designed plans may require adjustments along the way. When a person has already shared every detail with others, these changes may lead to confusion or judgment. Some people may question the decision to alter the plan, or may interpret the change as failure. When plans remain private, there is more freedom to adapt, learn, and improve without the pressure of outside expectations. Privacy also helps a person maintain focus on their long-term vision. When too many people become involved in a plan before it is fully developed, their opinions may begin to influence the direction of the idea. While advice can sometimes be helpful, excessive input from others can dilute the original purpose. A person may begin to shape their decisions based on what others think, rather than what they believe is right. Keeping plans quiet during the early stages allows the vision to remain clear and strong. The example of Jesus also highlights the value of purposeful action rather than loud declaration. Jesus often withdrew to quiet places to pray, reflect, and prepare for the work ahead. These moments of solitude demonstrate the power of silence in strengthening purpose and clarity. Instead of seeking constant attention or approval, Jesus focused on fulfilling his mission with patience and determination. Keeping plans quiet can also protect relationships. When people frequently announce their ambitions or financial goals, others may develop unrealistic expectations about what will happen in the future. Friends and relatives might begin to assume that they will benefit from the success, or that they will be included in certain opportunities. If the plan later changes or does not succeed as expected, disappointment can arise. Maintaining privacy reduces the risk of creating expectations that cannot be fulfilled. Another important aspect of quiet planning is the development of inner confidence. When a person works silently toward their goals, they learn to trust their own judgment and abilities. Instead of depending on constant encouragement or approval from others, they build self-belief through consistent effort and perseverance. This kind of confidence is stronger and more stable because it is based on personal experience rather than external validation. Silence also allows achievements to speak for themselves. When a person spends less time announcing what they intend to do and more time working toward it, the results eventually become visible without the need for explanation. Success that appears natural often carries more impact than success that has been repeatedly predicted. People respect accomplishments that are demonstrated through action rather than promises. In addition, keeping plans quiet can create a sense of peace. Constantly discussing goals with many people can lead to pressure, comparison, and the feeling that progress must be reported at every stage. Silence removes this pressure and allows a person to move forward at a natural pace. They can work through challenges privately, celebrate small victories quietly, and learn from mistakes without the fear of public scrutiny. The teachings and actions of Jesus consistently emphasize sincerity and humility in all aspects of life. Jesus encouraged people to focus on genuine intentions rather than public recognition. This principle applies strongly to the way people pursue their goals and ambitions. When plans are kept quiet and actions remain sincere, the work becomes more meaningful and less influenced by the desire for approval. Quiet planning also strengthens patience. Many worthwhile goals require time, persistence, and careful preparation. When someone speaks constantly about what they plan to achieve, they may begin to feel impatient if the results do not appear quickly. Silence encourages a slower, more thoughtful approach, allowing the process to unfold naturally without unnecessary pressure. Keeping plans quiet is not about secrecy or isolation from others. It is about understanding the right moment to share information and the importance of protecting a vision while it is still developing. By allowing ideas to grow quietly through effort and dedication, a person increases the chances that those plans will eventually become strong, successful, and meaningful realities. Money has the power to influence many aspects of life. It provides access to resources, opportunities, and comfort, but it's gray. Its value is revealed in the way it can be used to improve the lives of others. When money is used for good works, it becomes more than a personal benefit. It becomes a tool that brings hope, support, and relief to people who are in need. Wealth, when guided by compassion and responsibility, can create meaningful change in communities and reflect the values of kindness and generosity. Throughout history, societies have recognized the importance of sharing resources with those who are struggling. No matter how much money a person has, the true measure of wealth often lies in the willingness to help others. When individuals choose to use their financial blessings to support good causes, they contribute to a cycle of care and encouragement that strengthens the entire community. Acts of generosity can provide food for the hungry, education for those who lack opportunities, and comfort for those facing hardship. The teachings of Jesus strongly emphasize the importance of using what one has to help others. Jesus consistently showed compassion toward the poor, the sick, and the marginalized members of society. His actions demonstrated that kindness and generosity should not be limited by social status or personal comfort. Jesus encouraged people to look beyond their own needs and consider the well-being of others, reminding them that true greatness is expressed through service and compassion. One of the powerful examples from the life of Jesus is when he fed a large crowd with a small amount of food. This event illustrates the idea that even limited resources can make a difference when they are shared with the right intention. The lesson behind this act is not simply about the miracle itself, but about the spirit of generosity that inspires people to care for one another. When money is used to address the needs of others, it reflects the same spirit of compassion that Jesus demonstrated throughout his ministry. Using money for good works also creates a sense of purpose. Wealth that is used only for personal enjoyment may provide temporary satisfaction, but it often fails to produce lasting fulfillment. On the other hand, when financial resources are directed toward helping others, the impact can extend far beyond the moment of giving. Supporting someone during a difficult time, contributing to a community project, or helping a child receive an education can have effects that last for years or even generations. Generosity does not always require large amounts of money. Sometimes small contributions, when combined with genuine care and commitment, can have a powerful effect. A person who chooses to help regularly, even in modest ways, demonstrates an understanding that good works are built through consistent effort rather than occasional gestures. Jesus often noticed and praised small acts of kindness, showing that the value of giving lies in the sincerity of the heart rather than the size of the gift. Using money for good works also encourages empathy and awareness. When people think about how their resources can help others, they become more aware of the struggles that exist around them. This awareness can lead to greater understanding and compassion. Instead of viewing wealth as a symbol of personal success alone, a person begins to see it as an opportunity to reduce suffering and create positive change. Another important aspect of using money for good works is the idea of responsibility. Financial blessings often come with the ability to influence the lives of others, and with that influence comes the responsibility to act wisely and ethically. Jesus spoke about the importance of stewardship, encouraging people to manage their resources with care and integrity. This perspective reminds individuals that money should not be wasted or used in ways that harm others, but should instead be directed toward actions that reflect kindness and justice. When people use money to support good works, they also strengthen the bonds within their communities. Helping those who are struggling builds trust and cooperation among individuals. Communities where people support one another are often more resilient and more capable of overcoming challenges. Acts of generosity create an environment where people feel valued and supported rather than isolated and neglected. The teachings of Jesus repeatedly highlight the value of compassion toward those who are less fortunate. Jesus spent time with individuals who are often overlooked by society, offering them care, understanding, and practical help. His example encourages people to look beyond social divisions and recognize the dignity of every person. Using money for good works reflects this belief that every individual deserves respect, care, and opportunity. Another benefit of using money for good works is the sense of unity it creates. When people contribute to charitable efforts, community programs, or acts of kindness, they become part of a larger movement of positive change. This shared effort brings people together and encourages cooperation across different backgrounds and experiences. The impact of generosity often extends beyond the immediate act of giving, inspiring others to act with similar kindness. Generosity also teaches humility. When a person gives to others, they acknowledge that wealth is not meant to elevate them above others, but to serve a meaningful purpose. Jesus often reminded people that life is not measured by the accumulation of possessions, but by the way a person treats others. Using money to help those in need reflects a heart that values compassion more than personal status. Acts of generosity can also inspire hope. For someone facing hardship, even a small act of support can restore faith in humanity and encourage them to keep moving forward. Financial assistance, educational opportunities, or simple gestures of kindness can remind people that they are not alone in their struggles. The impact of such support often reaches beyond the immediate moment, encouraging individuals to pursue better opportunities and to help others when they are able. Using money for good works also creates a legacy that extends beyond material wealth. Possessions and financial success may fade over time, but the positive effects of generosity can continue long after the moment of giving has passed. People who have been helped often remember those acts of kindness and may choose to extend similar help to others in the future. In this way, generosity can create a chain of goodwill that spreads through families, communities, and generations. The life and teachings of Jesus consistently demonstrate that compassion and generosity are essential parts of a meaningful life. Jesus showed that helping others is not merely an optional act, but an important expression of love and responsibility. When people choose to use their money for good works, they reflect these values, and contribute to a world where kindness, empathy, and support become stronger forces in everyday life. Money is an important part of daily life because it helps people meet their needs, support their families, and pursue opportunities. It allows individuals to buy food, find shelter, receive education, and access many of the resources required for a comfortable life. Because money has such influence over everyday living, it is easy for people to begin seeing it as the most important thing they possess. However, while money can be useful and even necessary, it should never control a person's heart, thoughts, or values. When money begins to control someone's heart, it can slowly reshape their priorities, their relationships, and even their sense of purpose in life. The human heart represents desires, motivations, and the deeper values that guide decisions. When money becomes the center of those values, a person may begin to measure success only by wealth and possessions. Instead of focusing on character, kindness, and meaningful relationships, the focus shifts toward accumulation and status. This shift can create an unhealthy mindset where every decision is influenced by financial gain rather than wisdom or compassion. Over time, this way of thinking can weaken a person's ability to appreciate the simple and meaningful parts of life. The teachings of Jesus provide clear guidance on this issue. Jesus often spoke about the relationship between the heart and the material possessions. One well-known teaching from Jesus states, "Where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." This message encourages people to examine what truly holds their attention and loyalty. If someone's treasure is only money or material wealth, their heart may become attached to things that cannot provide lasting fulfillment. Jesus encouraged people to focus on values that endure beyond wealth, such as love, generosity, and faith. When money controls a person's heart, it can influence the way they treat others. Relationships may begin to feel like transactions rather than genuine connections. People might judge others based on their financial status instead of their character. This attitude can create divisions within communities and families. Instead of seeing each other as equals with shared humanity, individuals may begin to compare themselves based on wealth or possessions. Jesus consistently challenged this mindset by spending time with people from all walks of life, showing that dignity and worth are not determined by money. Allowing money to control the heart can also create constant dissatisfaction. No matter how much wealth a person acquires, there is always the possibility of wanting more. This desire can grow stronger over time, making it difficult to feel content with what one already has. The pursuit of more money can become endless, leaving little room for gratitude or appreciation. Jesus often warned about the danger of this endless pursuit, encouraging people to focus on spiritual and moral values rather than becoming consumed by material gain. Another effect of letting money control the heart is the loss of balance in life. People may begin dedicating all their energy to earning and protecting wealth, leaving little time for relationships, personal growth, or reflection. Work and financial ambition can gradually replace time spent with family, friends, and community. This imbalance may not appear harmful at first, but over time it can lead to loneliness, and emotional exhaustion. Jesus frequently reminded people that life is more than possessions, and that the well-being of the soul is more valuable than any material gain. When money does not control the heart, a person gains the freedom to use it wisely, rather than being controlled by it. Instead of feeling pressured to constantly accumulate wealth, they can focus on using their resources in ways that bring meaning and benefit to others. This perspective allows money to serve its proper role as a tool rather than becoming a master over a person's thoughts and actions. Jesus demonstrated this principle through his teachings about generosity and stewardship, encouraging people to view their resources as opportunities to help and uplift others. Gratitude also becomes easier when money is not the center of the heart. A person who values relationships, health, faith, and community understands that these aspects of life hold deeper meaning than financial wealth. Gratitude helps individuals recognize the many blessings that exist beyond money. Jesus often expressed thankfulness for simple provisions, reminding people that appreciation for what one already has can bring peace and contentment. Another important aspect of preventing money from controlling the heart is maintaining humility. Wealth can sometimes create a sense of superiority if a person begins to believe that their financial success makes them more important than others. This attitude can damage relationships and lead to pride. Jesus often emphasized humility, teaching that those who elevate themselves above others lose sight of the true purpose of life. By remaining humble, a person ensures that money does not change the way they view or treat others. Generosity also plays a significant role in keeping money from controlling the heart. When individuals willingly share their resources with those in need, they remind themselves that money is not the ultimate goal. Giving creates a mindset where wealth becomes a means to serve others, rather than a possession to guard selfishly. Jesus repeatedly encouraged acts of generosity and compassion, showing that the value of wealth increases when it is used to support and uplift others. Trust is another factor that helps prevent money from dominating the heart. When people place all their security in financial wealth, they may become anxious about losing it. This fear can lead to constant worry and stress. Jesus encouraged people to trust in God's provision and to focus on living with integrity and faith rather than being consumed by fear about the future. Trust allows a person to remain calm and balanced even when financial circumstances change. Keeping money from controlling the heart requires self-awareness and discipline. People must regularly examine their motivations and priorities to ensure that wealth does not overshadow the values that truly define a meaningful life. By focusing on compassion, humility, generosity, and faith, individuals can maintain a healthy relationship with money. Instead of allowing wealth to shape their identity or determine their worth, they recognize that true fulfillment comes from the quality of their character and the positive impact they have on the lives of others. The teachings of Jesus continue to remind people that the heart should be guided by love, faith, and wisdom, rather than by the pursuit of wealth. When money remains in its proper place as a tool rather than a master, individuals can live with greater peace, stronger relationships, and a deeper sense of purpose. Being a good steward means taking responsibility for the resources, opportunities, and blessings that have been placed in one's care. Stewardship is not only about managing money, but money is one of the most visible and influential resources that a person may receive in life. When someone gains financial resources, they are given the ability to make choices that can affect their own life as well as the lives of others. Because of this influence, managing money wisely becomes an important responsibility. A good steward understands that wealth is not merely something to possess, but something to manage carefully, thoughtfully, and with a sense of purpose. The concept of stewardship appears strongly in the teachings of Jesus. Jesus often used stories and parables to help people understand their responsibilities in life. One of the most well-known examples is the parable of the talents. In this teaching, Jesus described a master who entrusted his servants with different amounts of money before leaving on a journey. Each servant was expected to manage what they had been given. Some servants used their resources wisely and increased what they had received, while another servant hid his portion out of fear and failed to use it productively. Through this story, Jesus showed that people are expected to use their resources responsibly and to make the most of what they have been given. Being a good steward begins with understanding that resources are not unlimited. Even when someone has a significant amount of money, it can disappear quickly if it is handled carelessly. Wise management requires planning, patience, and the ability to think about the future. Instead of making impulsive decisions or spending without consideration, a good steward carefully evaluates how money is used. Each decision is guided by thoughtfulness and awareness of long-term consequences. Another important aspect of stewardship is accountability. When people receive financial blessings, they must recognize that their choices have consequences. Every purchase, investment, or financial commitment shapes the future in some way. Responsible stewardship means acknowledging that money should not be wasted or used in ways that create harm or instability. Instead, financial resources should be directed toward actions that support growth, stability, and well-being. The teachings of Jesus often emphasized responsibility in both small and large matters. Jesus taught that a person who is faithful with small things can be trusted with greater responsibilities. This idea highlights the importance of discipline and attention to detail when managing resources. A good steward does not ignore small expenses or minor decisions, because even small actions can accumulate into larger outcomes over time. Stewardship also involves balance. Money can be used for many purposes, including meeting personal needs, supporting family, helping others, and preparing for the future. A responsible steward considers all of these aspects and strives to maintain balance among them. Spending everything on personal desires without considering future needs or the needs of others reflects poor stewardship. On the other hand, refusing to use money at all can also prevent resources from fulfilling their purpose. Wisdom lies in knowing how to balance enjoyment, responsibility, generosity, and planning. Another important part of being a good steward is gratitude. When a person recognizes that their resources are a blessing, they are more likely to treat those resources with respect. Gratitude encourages careful management and thoughtful use. The teachings of Jesus often demonstrated thankfulness for what was available, even when the resources seemed small. This attitude reminds people that appreciation for what they have can inspire responsible actions and wise choices. Stewardship also encourages generosity. A person who manages their resources wisely often finds opportunities to support others, helping those who are sent, struggling, contributing to community efforts, and supporting meaningful causes are ways that stewardship can extend beyond personal benefit. Jesus frequently demonstrated compassion toward those in need and encouraged his followers to show similar care. Using resources to assist others reflects an understanding that wealth can be a tool for improving lives and strengthening communities. Another dimension of stewardship is foresight. A good steward thinks about how today's decisions will influence tomorrow's circumstances. Financial planning, saving, and careful investment are examples of actions that reflect this mindset. Instead of focusing only on immediate satisfaction, a responsible steward prepares for future responsibilities and challenges. This preparation provides stability and reduces the likelihood of crisis during difficult times. Stewardship also involves learning and growth. Managing resources effectively often requires knowledge and understanding. A person who seeks wisdom about financial decisions is more likely to avoid mistakes and make better choices. Learning about budgeting, saving, investing, and responsible spending can strengthen a person's ability to manage resources successfully. The teachings of Jesus often encouraged people to seek wisdom and understanding in all areas of life. Another important part of stewardship is humility. Wealth can sometimes create the illusion that a person is completely independent or self-sufficient. However, a humble steward recognizes that many factors contribute to financial success, including opportunities, support from others, and favorable circumstances. This awareness helps prevent arrogance and encourages a respectful attitude toward others. Responsibility toward family is also a key element of stewardship. Financial resources can help provide security, education, and stability for loved ones. A good steward considers the well-being of family members when making financial decisions. Planning for the future, protecting assets, and creating opportunities for those who depend on them are all part of responsible stewardship. Stewardship also requires discipline. Temptations to spend excessively or pursue unnecessary luxuries can appear frequently. Without discipline, it becomes easy to lose control of financial resources. Self-control allows a person to resist impulsive decisions and remain committed to long-term goals. Jesus often spoke about the importance of self-control and wise judgment, encouraging people to live thoughtfully rather than impulsively. Another aspect of good stewardship is integrity. Honest financial practices build trust and maintain a person's reputation. Whether in business dealings, personal agreements, or community responsibilities, integrity ensures that money is handled in a fair and transparent manner. Jesus consistently emphasized honesty and righteousness, showing that moral character should guide every aspect of life, including the management of resources. A good steward also recognizes the broader impact of financial decisions. Money can influence communities, businesses, and opportunities for others. When resources are used wisely, they can create jobs, support education, and improve living conditions for many people. Responsible stewardship therefore extends beyond personal benefit and contributes to the well-being of society. The teachings of Jesus repeatedly encourage people to live with responsibility, wisdom, and compassion. Stewardship reflects these principles by encouraging thoughtful management of resources and a commitment to using blessings in meaningful ways. When individuals approach money with a sense of responsibility and purpose, their actions reflect a deeper understanding that resources are meant to support growth, stability, and the well-being of others. Choosing wisdom over quick spending is an important principle in managing money and maintaining financial stability. When people receive money, whether through hard work, business success, or unexpected opportunities, they often feel a strong urge to spend it immediately. The excitement of having financial resources can create the temptation to buy expensive items, celebrate excessively, or make impulsive purchases without thinking carefully about the consequences. However, wisdom encourages patience and thoughtful decision-making. Instead of rushing to spend, a wise person pauses, reflects, and considers how their financial choices will affect their future and the well-being of those around them. Quick spending often comes from emotional reactions rather than careful planning. When people feel excited, proud, or even pressured by others, they may make purchases that bring temporary satisfaction but create long-term challenges. A person might buy things that are not truly necessary simply because they want to show success or enjoy the moment. While there is nothing wrong with enjoying the rewards of hard work, wisdom reminds individuals that financial resources should be handled with care and balance. Money that disappears quickly through impulsive spending cannot provide lasting security or meaningful benefits. The teachings of Jesus often emphasize the importance of wisdom and thoughtful living. Jesus encouraged people to consider their decisions carefully and to avoid acting purely on impulse. In one teaching, Jesus spoke about the importance of planning before building a tower, asking who would begin such a project without first calculating the cost to ensure it could be completed. This example reflects the value of thoughtful preparation and careful consideration before making significant decisions. The lesson applies only to large projects, but also to the way people manage their resources and spending habits. Choosing wisdom over quick spending also requires self-discipline. Modern society often promotes the idea that happiness comes from purchasing new possessions or experiencing luxury. Advertisements, social expectations, and peer pressure can make people feel that they must spend money quickly to keep up with others. However, wisdom teaches that true satisfaction does not come from constant consumption. Instead, it comes from stability, thoughtful planning, and the ability to meet responsibilities without unnecessary financial stress. A wise person understands that money should serve important purposes beyond temporary pleasure. Financial resources can be used to support family needs, invest in education, build businesses, and prepare for future opportunities. When money is spent too quickly on unnecessary items, these important possibilities may be lost. Wisdom encourages individuals to think about the broader impact of their financial decisions. Every choice about spending has consequences, and careful planning allows those choices to support long-term goals rather than short-term excitement. Another reason to choose wisdom over quick spending is the unpredictability of life. Circumstances can change suddenly, and financial security can provide protection during difficult times. Emergencies, health challenges, or unexpected responsibilities may arise when they are least expected. A person who has managed their money wisely will be better prepared to handle such situations. By saving, investing, and spending carefully, they create a foundation that allows them to face challenges with greater confidence and stability. The teachings of Jesus often highlight the value of responsibility and foresight. Jesus encouraged people to think about the future and to live in ways that reflect careful judgment. His messages often challenged individuals to look beyond immediate desires and focus on what truly matters in the long term. This perspective reminds people that wisdom involves more than knowledge. It requires the ability to apply understanding in everyday decisions, including the way money is used. Quick spending can also lead to regret. Many people have experienced situations where they purchase something impulsively, only to realize later that the purchase was unnecessary or unwise. This regret can create frustration and disappointment. Wisdom helps prevent these situations by encouraging thoughtful reflection before making financial commitments. Taking time to consider whether a purchase is truly needed allows individuals to avoid mistakes that might affect their financial stability. Choosing wisdom also encourages better priorities. When a person focuses on thoughtful spending, they begin to distinguish between needs and wants. Needs include essential items such as food, shelter, education, and healthcare. Wants, while enjoyable, are not always necessary for well-being. Wisdom does not demand that people ignore all pleasures or comforts, but it encourages balance and moderation. By meeting essential needs first and considering long-term goals, individuals create a healthier relationship with money. Another important benefit of wise spending is the ability to support others. When financial resources are managed carefully, there is often more opportunity to help those who are struggling. Acts of generosity become possible when the person has planned their finances responsibly. Jesus frequently encouraged kindness and generosity toward others, demonstrating compassion through his actions. By avoiding reckless spending, individuals create the possibility of using their resources to uplift others and strengthen their communities. Wisdom in financial decisions also contributes to peace of mind. Financial stress is one of the most common sources of anxiety in modern life. When people spend money quickly without planning, they may later face difficulties paying bills, meeting obligations, or maintaining stability. These challenges can create worry and strain relationships. Careful spending and thoughtful planning reduce this stress and provide a sense of control and security. Another aspect of choosing wisdom over quick spending is learning to appreciate patience. Waiting before making purchases allows a person to evaluate whether the item or experience is truly valuable. Often, the desire for something decreases with time, revealing that it was not essential after all. Patience gives people the opportunity to make clearer decisions rather than reacting to temporary emotions. The example of Jesus consistently reflects thoughtful living and wise priorities. Jesus focused on teaching values that emphasized responsibility, compassion, and spiritual understanding rather than material excess. His life demonstrated that fulfillment comes from meaningful actions and relationships rather than from the accumulation of possessions. By reflecting on these teachings, individuals can develop a mindset that values wisdom and thoughtful choices over impulsive spending. Choosing wisdom over quick spending also strengthens personal discipline and character. Every time a person resists the temptation to make an unnecessary purchase, they reinforce habits that support financial health and long-term stability. These habits gradually shape a lifestyle where decisions are guided by understanding rather than emotion. When people approach money with patience and wisdom, they gain the ability to use their resources in ways that create lasting benefits. Thoughtful spending supports personal growth, strengthens relationships, and provides opportunities for generosity and investment. Instead of allowing excitement or pressure to control financial choices, wisdom guides individuals toward decisions that reflect responsibility, balance, and a clear vision for the future. Staying faithful and grateful is an important attitude when a person experiences blessings, opportunities, or financial success. Life often presents moments when hard work begins to produce results, and when resources become more available than they were before. During these moments, it becomes easy for people to focus only on the benefits they have received without remembering the journey that brought them to that point. Faithfulness and gratitude help a person remain grounded, humble, and aware that every blessing carries meaning beyond personal enjoyment. These qualities shape a mindset that values appreciation, responsibility, and trust in God. Faithfulness refers to maintaining trust, commitment, and dedication to the principles that guide a person's life. When circumstances improve, some individuals begin to forget the values that once directed their actions. They may become distracted by comfort, recognition, or the desire for greater success. Staying faithful means remembering the beliefs and commitments that were important even during difficult times. It means continuing to live with integrity, honesty, and devotion, regardless of how much wealth or success a person gains. The teachings of Jesus emphasize the importance of faithfulness in both small and great matters. Jesus often spoke about the value of remaining faithful in responsibilities and in one's relationship with God. He encouraged people to maintain their trust and commitment even when circumstances changed. Faithfulness ensures that a person's character remains stable rather than shifting according to external conditions. When someone remains faithful during times of success, they demonstrate that their values are genuine and not dependent on material circumstances. Gratitude works closely with faithfulness because it keeps the heart focused on appreciation rather than entitlement. When people begin to receive financial blessings or achieve their goals, they may gradually start to believe that everything they have is entirely the result of their own effort. While hard work certainly plays an important role, gratitude reminds individuals that many other factors contribute to success. Opportunities, guidance from others, supportive relationships, and favorable circumstances all influence the path toward achievement. Jesus often demonstrated gratitude in simple but meaningful ways. Before sharing food with large crowds, he gave thanks for what was available, even when the amount seemed small. These moments reveal the importance of acknowledging blessings with thankfulness rather than focusing on what might still be lacking. Gratitude changes the way a person sees life, encouraging them to recognize abundance even in ordinary situations. When a person stays grateful, they avoid the trap of constant dissatisfaction. Wealth and success can sometimes create a desire for even more wealth and recognition. This desire may grow stronger over time, making it difficult for someone to feel content with what they already have. Gratitude interrupts this cycle by encouraging people to say, and appreciate their present circumstances. Instead of constantly comparing themselves to others or pursuing endless accumulation, they learn to value the blessings already present in their lives. Staying faithful and grateful also strengthens relationships. When people remember the help and encouragement they received along their journey, they remain respectful and appreciative toward those who supported them. Gratitude prevents arrogance and encourages humility in interactions with others. It reminds individuals that success rarely happens in isolation and that many people contribute to the progress one experiences. The teachings of Jesus often focused on humility and compassion. Jesus interacted with people from all walks of life and treated each person with dignity and care. His actions demonstrated that faithfulness to God is closely connected with kindness toward others. When a person remains faithful and grateful, they are more likely to treat others with patience, respect, and generosity. Another important benefit of gratitude is the sense of peace it creates. When people spend their time focusing on what they do not have, they may feel restless and dissatisfied even when they possess significant resources. Gratitude shifts attention toward the positive aspects of life, allowing individuals to experience contentment and inner calm. This peaceful mindset can improve both emotional well-being and relationships with others. Faithfulness also helps people remain strong during challenges. Financial success and comfortable circumstances do not eliminate the possibility of difficulties. Unexpected problems, changes in circumstances, or personal struggles can still arise. A faithful person maintains trust in God even when life becomes uncertain. Instead of losing hope or becoming discouraged, they rely on their beliefs and values to guide them through difficult moments. Gratitude encourages generosity as well. When individuals appreciate the blessings they have received, they often feel a desire to share those blessings with others. Helping people in need, supporting community efforts, and offering assistance to those facing hardship become natural expressions of a grateful heart. Jesus consistently encouraged acts of compassion and generosity, demonstrating that blessings gain deeper meaning when they are shared. Remaining faithful and grateful also protects a person from pride. Wealth and success can sometimes lead to a sense of superiority if someone begins to believe that their achievements make them more important than others. Gratitude reminds individuals that every person has value and dignity, regardless of financial status. Faithfulness keeps a person connected to spiritual principles that emphasize humility and respect. Another important aspect of gratitude is the ability to recognize small blessings. Many people wait for large successes before expressing appreciation, but a grateful mindset notices everyday gifts as well. Health, supportive friendships, opportunities to learn, and moments of joy all contribute to a meaningful life. By acknowledging these simple blessings, individuals develop a deeper awareness of the goodness present in their daily experiences. Faithfulness also strengthens personal discipline. When someone remains committed to their values, they are less likely to become distracted by temporary pleasures or harmful influences. They continue to make decisions that reflect integrity and wisdom, even when opportunities arise to act differently. The teachings of Jesus often encouraged people to remain steadfast in their beliefs and to live according to principles that promote goodness and righteousness. Gratitude can also inspire hope and encouragement in others. When people observe someone who remains thankful and faithful despite success, they may feel motivated to adopt similar attitudes in their own lives. A grateful person often spreads positivity and appreciation within their community, influencing others to focus on what is meaningful rather than what is lacking. Staying faithful and grateful requires regular reflection and awareness. Life moves quickly, and it can be easy to become distracted by responsibilities and ambitions. Taking time to reflect on blessings, express thanks, and reconnect with spiritual values helps maintain balance and perspective. The example of Jesus reminds people that faith, humility, and gratitude are essential parts of a meaningful life. Faithfulness ensures that success does not weaken a person's character, while gratitude ensures that blessings are received with humility and appreciation. Together, these qualities help individuals maintain a healthy relationship with wealth, opportunity, and achievement, guiding them toward a life that values integrity, compassion,